Let's talk about industrial safety. A mechanical integrity program? It's absolutely non-negotiable. But where on earth do you even begin? Well, that very first step, defining the scope, is this incredibly high-stakes balancing act. You get it right, and you've built a solid foundation for safety and efficiency for years to come. But if you get it wrong, the whole thing can come crashing down. So let's break down the blueprint for getting it right from the start.
Here's our game plan. We're going to start with the biggest challenge right out of the gate, that scope balancing act. Then, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of knowing your assets, how to prioritize them by risk, and the smartest way to roll out a program in manageable phases. And finally, we'll dive into the modern toolkit that makes all this possible and really hammer home why all this foundational work is so critical for success. All right, so any organization that decides to kick off a mechanical integrity, or MI program, immediately runs into the exact same problem. It's the very first hurdle, and believe me, it is a big one.
You're instantly stuck between a rock and a hard place. If you go too broad, try to boil the ocean, you're just going to overwhelm your team. People won't use the system, and the whole program will stall. But if you go too narrow, the program won't show enough value to justify the cost, and you'll be stuck with a really expensive expansion project down the road. You've got to find that just right Goldilocks sweet spot.
And just so we're all on the same page, when we say mechanical integrity, we're not talking about some one-and-done project. This is a continuous, living process. It's a system designed to keep your equipment safe and reliable, which in turn protects your people, the environment, and of course, the business itself. So how do you find that perfect scope? Well, it all starts with a really basic fundamental idea. You can't manage what you don't know. And honestly, just getting a handle on exactly what equipment you have is often the first massive challenge. The difference between the old way and the new way here is, well, it's night and day. The old way meant engineers were hunched over these giant engineering drawings, P&IDs, for weeks, sometimes months, trying to manually catalog every single piece of equipment. It was painfully slow, and human error was pretty much a guarantee. But today, intelligent scanning tech can do that exact same job in a matter of days, and it spits out a complete, standardized, and incredibly accurate asset list. How accurate are we talking? Up to 99%. This isn't just a little bit better, it's a complete game changer. It fundamentally alters the speed and the reliability of getting your MI program started on the right foot. And the real-world impact is just staggering. Listen to this, from a plant manager at Air Liquide, where they used to need 15 people to manage their assets. Today, they only need 2. That's not just better data, that's a monumental leap in efficiency. It totally changes what a team is capable of achieving. Okay, so technology has given you this perfect, complete picture of all your assets. Now a new question pops up. Where do you focus first? The smart answer is all about prioritizing by risk. It's a simple truth, right? Not all equipment is created equal. A high-pressure reactor is a whole different ballgame than a low-pressure water tank. A truly smart MI program gets this, and it focuses the most resources on the assets that pose the biggest threat to safety and operations. And this naturally leads you to a tiered system. Your Tier 1 highest-risk assets, they get the white-glove treatment. The most frequent inspections, advanced monitoring, the whole shebang. Tier 2 assets get a solid standard protocol. And for those lower-risk items in Tier 3, you use a simpler approach that keeps things safe without wasting valuable time and money.
So now you know what you have, and you know what to focus on. But how do you actually roll this out without causing total chaos? The answer, as the old saying goes, is to eat the elephant one bite at a time. You need a phased approach.
A really logical strategy is to start with something like pressure vessels. The requirements are super well defined, and the number of them is usually manageable. This lets you score an early win and build some momentum. From there, move on to another standardized group, like heat exchangers. You save the really complex beast, piping systems, for last. The sheer volume of piping can be totally overwhelming, so you want your team to be a well-oiled machine before you tackle that. We've covered the challenges and the strategies. Now, let's look at the actual tools that pull all of this together and make this modern approach a reality.
The heart of any modern program is what's called an Inspection Data Management System, or an IDMS. The best way to think about it is as the brain of the entire operation. This is where your complete asset inventory lives. It helps you plan inspections based on risk, and it can even run complex calculations to analyze that risk and predict the remaining life of your equipment.
Okay, that's a nice list of features, but let's get real. What does all of this actually mean for the people on the ground who are responsible for keeping a plant running safely day in and day out? For them, it is a massive shift. This isn't just a piece of software anymore. It's a system for making better, smarter decisions. By analyzing all that data, it optimizes your maintenance schedules, which directly improves safety and makes sure you're compliant. It means you can put your people and your budget where they'll have the most impact, which boosts efficiency across the board. The real magic, though, is in the integration. These systems use industry standards like API 581 to put a hard number on risk. And if an inspection finds a problem, the system automatically talks to your maintenance platform, whether it's SAP, Maximo, whatever, and generates a work order. This closes the loop and makes sure nothing ever falls through the cracks. We're getting close to the end here, and I want to bring everything full circle, right back to that first critical step we talked about, defining the scope.
This quote just nails it. Scoping isn't just some technical task where you tick boxes and list equipment. It's a strategic exercise. It has to line up with your business goals, your regulatory duties, and the actual day-to-day realities of how your facility operates.
Look, at the end of the day, all the time and effort you put into getting the scope right at the beginning, that's not a cost. That is the single best investment you can possibly make. It's what prevents massive headaches later, saves a ton of money, and builds the foundation for a truly safe and excellent operation for years to come. And that really just leaves us with one final question for you to think about. When you look at your own facility, is its safety program built on a deliberate, strategic framework like the one we've talked about, or is it leaving things to chance? The answer to that question could make all the difference.